In the film industry, editing has increasingly changed over the years, and it is a major tool every editor depends on. Editing is an action used by selecting different clips or scenes put together to create a film. In today's generation, editing is used through digital technology, and this helps to create a motion picture. Going all the way back to the early 1890s, we come across the Lumiere brothers. They were French inventors and pioneer manufacturers of photographic equipment. These brothers had invented their own device combining camera with printer and projector and called it cinematography. Their first film was of workers leaving the factory. The brothers used a film speed of 16 frames per second. Early motion pictures that were recorded were shown as just one shot because there was generally no story to the recording. Editing wasn't required. Following this film, the Lumiere brothers also created The Water Watered. This is a short black and white silent comedy film. Notice how the camera is always kept in the same position, which in this case is a long shot, and how the actors enter in from the sides of the frame as if they would in a theatre performance. Also notice how the focus of the piece is in centre frame. As you can see, the man in the film pulls the little boy back into the centre frame as he runs offside. To show my understanding, I created my own version of a long still shot. Moving on, we come to Georges Méliès. Georges was a French illusionist and filmmaker most famous for leading many technical and narrative developments in the early days of cinema. He was most famous for special effects, and his techniques included splicing. For example, one of his most famous films, made in 1896 called The Haunted Castle, uses stop motion and splicing to create the effect of things disappearing and reappearing in the scene. Here is an example that I have created to show my understanding of splicing and stop motion. Jumping forward a little into the 1900s, we come to the first film to intercut two different shots within a scene. This was created by American producer and director Edwin Porter. Notice how the scene cuts to a close-up to emphasise the lifting up of the skirt to show her ankle. Here is a piece I shot to demonstrate this. Edwin Porter also had another breakthrough when he created the first film to contain many shots spliced together. The piece was called The Great Train Robbery and was created in 1903. However, there was no intercutting within scenes, so many of the shots may seem long to us as a modern day audience. Notice also the continuity of the piece and how it follows the narrative. Here is one I shot a while back to demonstrate continuity. The next form of editing we come across is montage editing. Developed in 1910, this is the splicing of several short clips to show time passing in a quicker, more efficient way. A good example of this is the montage from Rocky. Notice the different shots of Rocky training to show time passing. Montage editing was then followed by parallel editing. This form of editing is used to link two clips happening at the same time but in different locations. This can be seen in the film The Godfather during the christening. Notice how the audio from the christening is in both scenes, bridging the two so that the audience subconsciously know they are happening at the same time. Finally, we come to rhythmic editing. Rhythmic editing is where the cuts within a piece are timed to the music. A great example for this is the latest trailer to Suicide Squad. The soundtrack for this trailer is Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. Notice how each cut is timed perfectly to the music. That's all for this piece, and this just shows how far editing on a whole has actually come, and there is no limit to what we can achieve.